Stories at this hour, and we begin in Nakuru, where the High Court has sentenced the widow of Kiru Boys High School, Jane Muthoni, and her co-accused Isaac Nganga to 30 years in prison each for planning and executing the murder of Muthoni's husband, Solomon Mbuthi, in November 2016. The court maintained that the murder of the principal was premeditated and that the accused chose the path of death instead of aborting the plan altogether on the 3 occasions that they failed to kill the deceased. Bridget Ngana joins us live now from Nakuru for more on this. Bridget's key development there. What else can you tell us?
Well, Smriti, it was a very brief sentencing compared to the hearing that was on the 18th of May, rather, where both parties, the accused and the defense, the prosecution and the defense rather, presented their submissions before this sentencing, coming before Justice Joel Ngugi. He is sitting in Nairobi, but the proceedings were here at the Nakuru Law Courts, where we are at the moment. And in his brief sentencing, rather, he said that this was an example, rather, the sentencing was to serve an example to the society and the community, because both the accused, that is the first accused and the second accused, did not show any sign of remorse. They had planned this and executed it, and even went on to explain that even the late principal, rather, did not even have the faculties to defend himself, because he was heavily dragged when the two committed the crime upon him, rather. And this is what the judge said in his sentencing earlier on this morning.
I view a fit sentence that properly balances the mitigating circumstances with the aggravating circumstances is a sentence of 30 years imprisonment for each of the 2 accused persons. And I, accordingly, sentence each of the accused persons to that period. The sentence period for the first accused person shall run from the 22nd of November 2016, when she was first arraigned in court, and has remained in custody since then. The sentence period for the second accused person shall run from the 28th of December 2016 for the same period. Orders accordingly.
Well, that is Justice Joel Ngugi earlier on this morning, delivering the sentencing for the widow, Jane Muthoni, the widow of the late Kiru Boys High School principal Solomon Mbuthi, and her co-accused Isaac Nganga, alias Kikuyu, who was also following the proceedings from the Nairobi Remand Prison in industrial area. Jane Muthoni was at the Langata Women's Prison, and when he made his submission or his sentencing, the Justice Joel Ngugi went on to say that he did consider all factors, considered the plight by the prosecution that wanted the accused persons to be given a death penalty. He also went ahead to consider Jane Muthoni's application or mitigation submission, which she said she was the sole breadwinner to her children. And she also considered one of the uniqueness of this case is the plight of the daughter of the slain principal and the accused, the first accused, when she said that the court should consider that her mom had been missing in their lives for the longest time ever, and they were pleading with the court to give her a lenient sentencing that would, in a sense, give her time to also be present in their lives. This has been a case that has been prosecuted for 5 years in the judicial service, and also Joel Ngugi mentioned that he wanted to give a ruling that would also appease the victim's family, and that is the family of the late Solomon Mbuthi. And this ruling, rather, is something that we'll be looking at in our subsequent bulletins. And what we would like to mention is that they are serving their sentence from the minute they were presented to court, and this is from 2016. So this 30 years sentence for both the first accused and the second accused is applying since they were presented to court in 2016 and during this duration. And what we are going also to look at, rather, is the submission also by the judge, rather, is that they have 14 days to appeal, Smriti. That's quite a mouthful for me, but yeah, so that's what we're following up on for our subsequent bulletins, and that's at 7 and 9.